Jackson Hinkle is here, who just got kicked off of YouTube for telling the truth about the Ukraine war. Now, here's some more truth coming at you about the Ukraine war accidentally. So this is from DD Geopolitics. This video of a Sky News interview with Ukrainian MP Lysia Velisenko was apparently deleted from Twitter after it was posted. She slips out the truth about the so-called Ukrainian counteroffensive, but in true Ukraine fashion, still manages to blame and beg their Western handlers at the same time. So let's listen to this, and I want to get Jackson's reaction.
The latest situation. The counteroffensive is going as planned. Is it going as planned? Well, as much as we can have it going as planned with the amount of weapons and the quality of the ammunition that we're getting. The steadier the deliveries and the bigger the deliveries of the armaments for Ukraine, the faster the counteroffensive can go. That's the
problem is you've regained, what, less than 1% of the ground that you lost before the invasion?
Unfortunately, that is
and
the
you
case.
only have like another month to go before?
Another month or so before the cold and the winter settles in, before we can before we will have to actually pause until the springtime. And this is the sad news for us, and I think not just for us, but all the countries that are supporting Ukraine right now.
Is that continuing? Because I get the impression, I'm certainly told, that there is you're having to try harder and harder to get aid specifically from Europe and other Western countries.
It is getting harder and harder because Russia is winning the battle of a protracted conflict.
Am I out of my mind, or is her accent not consistent? It seems like she's slipping in and out. She sounds American, and then she sounds Ukrainian, and then she sounds something else. I don't know. Just keep that in mind as we watch.
I was too caught up listening to how terribly things are going.
Shit she was.
Today.
So they are winning.
In terms of protracted conflict strategies that they're trying to impose on Ukraine and the world, unfortunately, we have to say that they are gaining the upper hand yet again. They have done this back in 2014. The lessons weren't learned. The aid was being delivered too slowly and at a non-stable rate, and this is the results that we are getting. I am a firm believer that Russia could have been stopped with their escalation of the aggression in February 2022, when Ukraine was asking for weapons through January, through October, November, December 2021, but was not being taken seriously, and when the offer on the table for us Ukrainians was to surrender to Putin's demands.
You know, I think selling off 70% of them probably didn't help.
Yeah. So she said that they've only regained 1%.
Is that a Gaza amount even?
1% of the territory they've only gained back for $100 billion.
Best money we ever spent. That's the best money.
So why is it that our proxy war cost $100 billion and it isn't working, but I'm told at the same time that the $6 billion we gave Iran was enough for the Hamas to go ahead.
The 9/11 of the century.
The 9/11 of this century, for Israel. Yes. That's what I'm most upset about. We gifted $6 billion. We gifted $6 billion that we stole earlier back to Iran, and they were able to last minute plan a 9/11 of Israel, and Ukraine's over here dicking around just 1%. So here, let me show this. So what Russia has. Tell me if I'm wrong, Jackson. You know more about this. It seems like what they wanted to do was keep their landmass bridge open to the sea. And it seems like that's exactly what they've accomplished. And it seems like Ukraine has no way of getting it back. Now, go ahead. You respond to that, lady.
That's 100% correct. And the craziest part of all, as you just pointed it out, is that, condemn maybe the targeting of civilians, but Hamas did take more territory in Israel temporarily than Ukraine has gained in the entire counteroffensive over the past 100 and however many days.
Really?
Yes. I mean, they lost it. Hamas lost it all to the IDF very quickly, but they did at least get their hands on it. Way more territory than Ukraine gained in this entire counteroffensive over like 120 days or so. And I think that's really noteworthy. The New York Times also cited some interesting stats that throughout the duration of the counteroffensive, Russia gained 2 times more territory in Ukraine than Ukraine gained back from Russia. So for everyone who said that this is the most well-funded, well-armed counteroffensive in military history, that might be true, but it also failed.
Yeah.
It failed in the biggest way imaginable. So she is correct, I guess, to say that, and the weird way she phrased it, she said, in the sense of a protracted global conflict, Russia's again gaining the upper hand. Well, you don't need all the weird, fancy words to say it. You can just look at the map there. Russia has about 87,000 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory in their hands now, or square miles in their hands now of Ukrainian territory, and Ukraine's not going to be getting that back.
And so I like how she also said that they have to take a break from the war because winter's coming. You guys just going to go have tea and sandwiches and sit around and wait for the weather to get warm enough for you guys to start killing again? It
gets muddy. It gets all over.
You can't advance because of the winter is what they're trying to say, And by the way, I just think that you're going to expect to see Sean Penn come back because she did hint in that whole little speech over there that it was too slow to get the weaponry out there.
Yeah.
So at what point does caution turn to cowardice? Kurt,
I don't know.
We need to get them the weapons faster.
How big did you want that assault on Israel to be? Jesus.
Okay.
I will say that during the winter, Craig is right. They don't really, especially the Ukrainian side, they're not doing a lot of advancement during the winter time and when the grounds are muddied, because guess what? All the tanks, all the armored vehicles, all the IFVs that they send to Ukraine are built for like Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria to be in the hard dirt. They're not supposed to be in thick 1 foot deep mud in the middle of a Ukrainian winter. And I'm in Russia right now. The first snow just happened in St. Petersburg. It's freezing cold. And who knows what this winter is going to look like. If it's a bad winter, that's going to be bad for Europe's energy supply, but it's going to be even worse for Ukraine's battlefield chances here.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Is this not the best money we ever spent?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
And the average age of a Ukrainian soldier is now 40 years old. So during the winter, they get the chills, Jimmy. They can't do that digging and everything anymore.
Have you heard that stat that the average age of the Ukrainian soldier is now 40 years old? Have you heard that, Jackson?
I haven't, but that's a crazy stat. I'm sure
that's got to be like there's a bunch of really old and,
Yeah.
It can't be like they're all.
No, they have like people that are in their late 50s now fighting.
Yeah,
I've seen pictures of them. It's unbelievable. They got guts, gray hair. Go ahead.
400 to 500, somewhere 400 to 500,000 men killed thus far, and think about all the more injured. Usually, war's like a 1 to 3 killed to injured ratio, and who knows how many of those are permanent injuries? They're not coming back to the front. How many 18 to 25-year-olds do you have to send when most of these guys left Ukraine at the start of the war and they're in Bali or Thailand or wherever right now? They don't have a lot of people, and that's why probably they have the average age of 40 right now, because they only have older men to send to the front. And now they're actually sending women. Anyone who has a medical degree in Ukraine is being conscripted to be sent to the front. If you're a woman, it doesn't matter. You're going to be sent to the front. If you have a medical degree, you're forced to go.
Wow.
Best money, man. We ever
so
spent.
what? I mean, so the Ukraine people, they don't realize the game that's being played on them, Jackson?
I don't think they do. I think there's some who do, yes. There's some notable exceptions, like Tatiana Montyan is a very famous Ukrainian who has a huge following on Telegram, and she speaks out about this. But as we all know, you can't really speak out about it publicly in Ukraine, or else the SBU will target you and disappear you. So I don't think we really know how many people in Ukraine are opposed and simply want peace. But I guess if there are elections, maybe we'll hopefully see some sort of an opposition form. But I don't even know if we're going to get that.
Hey, come see us doing the live shows. We're going to be in Dallas, Houston, San Diego, Bloomington, Illinois, Indianapolis, Levittown, New York, Red Bank, New Jersey, Wilmington, Delaware, Covina, California, Burbank, California, and Oxnard, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets. See you at a live show.